Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we take a look at the astrological energies from October 18th until October 25th as we close out Libra season, move into Scorpio season, and we have a real focus this week on communication, both communication issues, problems, inaccurate information and stories, as well as an understanding of what can be further developed and enhanced, where you can practice more mindful communication and even the very strong energies of going deeper into your intuitive hits and what those messages are as well. So I'll be talking about all of this and more in today's podcast episode. As always, thank you so much for joining me. And if you are new to this particular astrology podcast, we discuss astrology through the lens of spiritual, intuitive, and consciousness perspectives, as well as how the energies of right now are revealing more about your path, your purpose, what is important for you, and essentially how we are all connected to these cosmic energies and frequencies. I am a Western tropical astrologer who has been practicing and studying this art of the cosmos for over 30 years. And it is always my intention to offer you messages, insights, or information that supports you, accepting yourself, supports what you're moving through, supports your heart, your journey, and of course, everything that perhaps you're experiencing in your own 3D reality. So let's dive into what is coming up at this time, because we have very strong energies with the Sun and Mercury this week. So there is a real highlight on those mercurial energies of the messages, the stories, the information. And because both the Sun and Mercury are in Libra, it's about your exchanges with others, the dialogues, conversations, emails, texting, all the ways we connect. This is about information that is being highlighted, that's coming to light, that's being shared and discussed. And there's also this real emphasis from the Sun in Libra shining a spotlight on what that is for you, meaning how your communication styles and habits are perhaps being accentuated, perhaps being revealed, even more coming to light and showing up. And this information, or even the stories, the ideas, the projects, the plans are going to be moving through a big transformational journey over this next week. And so there's going to be things coming up that are actually uncomfortable, where you realize the facts were not verified. Information was not fully accurate. Something was missing. And this is what we're going to be moving through that is asking us to stay mentally open, stay aware of what we are thinking and perceiving, what we're taking in, because the strong focus here of both the Sun and Mercury conjunct in Libra is about information from other people and how you digest it, what you're then thinking about, what you are processing and moving through. This can also feel indecisive. It could be that you need time now to process, to think about some things, and even that push to have someone to discuss it with. What's on your mind, what's coming up for you, and where you can go to share your thoughts. Now, both of these energies, the Sun in Libra and Mercury in Libra, are conjunct at 24 degrees on October 18th, and they both move through that South Node in Libra point, and they remain conjunct until October 20th. So what we have is the Sun and Mercury working with the South Node of what is not working in communications, what needs to be adjusted, what needs to be renegotiated, where the information that you're receiving or that you're thinking that you have isn't full enough. It's like it doesn't have a fullness to it. There's something else that needs to come through and come in to get the full story. And with both of these energies working with the South Node, we're also meant to look at what is ready to turn over for you. What is something that you're learning about your own communication styles and habits that maybe you're ready to outgrow or you have already outgrown? Anything with the South Node can also be quite karmic, and it's almost like it can bring up the lower spectrum expressions. It can bring up what isn't meant to go forward with you, that is just a comfort zone. It's a natural habit. It could even be, this is interesting, this just came through. It's like when you're in someone else's aura, does your energy shift to adjust to their frequency? Do you feel something within yourself shifting, evolving, moving to a different frequency when you're with others? And is that still something that you want to accommodate, that you want to experience? Because with the Libra energy, it can be very aware of other people's frequencies in a way that you want to make them happy, you want to connect, you want to interact. Of course, all of these are beautiful things, but there could be something that you're realizing right now is no longer part of your frequency, no longer part of your truth, no longer part of how you want to show up. So there is an internal review here with the Sun and Mercury going across the South Node, looking at your own interaction styles and what you say, how you communicate, what you write, that has an impact on others and how their energy has an impact on you. And now looking at, what do I need to change? Where is this not working? Where is this not fair? Where is this not really the full picture? And we associate Libra with fairness and justice, but part of the purpose of Libra is to bring us back into that equilibrium when it's out of balance. And you could see some things this week that are out of balance, that are not fair. And it could even bring up, do I have all the information? Do I have all the details? Because you could also be missing parts of it with this energy, and you could then have some new realizations, and those realizations are teachable moments. Those realizations are coming up for you to review and assess. Did I handle this well? Was I communicating this properly? Did I go through a fair process with other people? These are all parts of the energies that we're dancing with in order to understand more of what needs to come into balance. But this feels quite uncomfortable. Like there could be an uncomfortable realization. You could see what hasn't been fair or what hasn't been accurate. And as both the Sun and Mercury move forward this week, after their conjunction, after their interaction with the South Node in Libra, they are also interacting with all of the outer planets right now. And so that means that what they're really expanding is their own consciousness that they didn't see before. There is a corrective energy here. There is something that needs to course correct. Before they enter Scorpio, both the Sun and Mercury are in a yod with Uranus retrograde in Taurus and Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So what it means with this energy is that you don't have all the information, or there's something that is going to come to light that again is going to show you what wasn't really in equal energy exchange or what wasn't really in balance. This also is a karmic breaking point. And because we're in eclipse season, the energies are more powerful. They're bigger. They're more uncomfortable. They could be more emotional. It could be something that jolts you. There could be something that even brings up shame. I'm not happy how I handled that. I'm not happy this is what I said. I wish I hadn't done it this way. I wish I hadn't approached this person that way. And this involves your interactions with other people. This also can be revelations coming through that highlights something that not only you want to shift in yourself, but that you're understanding, I know I'm better than that. I know I can do better. I know I can be more. I know I have more skills, more energies, more opportunities available to me. But first, maybe there's something you have to release or turn over that isn't so comfortable to look at. And this goes back to other people's frequencies. Like when you're in a one-on-one dialogue or when you're around others, does anything shift for you in how you are accommodating their energy? Does anything shift where you realize you're holding back any of your needs or your thoughts? Is anything feeling restrictive because you're not sure what to choose, what to say, how to say it, how to approach it? And it's interesting because this week has those kinds of conversations involved. This is a week where there can be some heavier conversations, intense conversations, uncomfortable conversations that are actually needed and right on time. And they are going to lead to new areas of personal commitments. And I'm going to get to that in a moment. But this is an intense week of being very mindful of what you say, because there's a lot going on globally. There's a lot going on within our individual frequencies, but there's something here that you're meant to shed and exfoliate and remove. There's something here that you are meant to self-assess and realize, I'm better than that. I can do better than that. I have come so far on my path that I know I can be better at whatever that might be for you. And this can bring up the fears you're ready to face, the fears in yourself that maybe you weren't wanting to look at or weren't willing to look at because even discussing them or bringing them up is uncomfortable. So yes, there is a week of energy here where we're going to have to be navigating some trickier situations that are pushing us to be more truthful with yourself. And part of what happens, and I'm seeing this in a very interesting way, is how we can understandably feel it. Like we can feel ourselves evolving and growing. We can feel, okay, I'm different, I'm better, I understand something here. And then as soon as you take that energy out into an interaction or into a space, into a work environment, into wherever, you might feel that it is changing, like that energy shifts and maybe even pulls you back into a previous version of yourself. This is a week where you could see a previous version of yourself coming to light and realizing you've outgrown it. You already know better. You want to do better. This is where a previous version of yourself could be revealed to you through other people, whether they are a mirror or they're giving you some kind of energy or information that is reflecting back to you more of yourself and what you are currently processing privately. And so we're going to see the Sun and Mercury working with that south node. Then each of them squares Pluto in Capricorn at 27 degrees. This occurs October 20th and October 21st. And with both Mercury and the Sun squaring Pluto, which is now direct and sitting at 27 degrees of Capricorn, there's something about really understanding the bigger picture. And Pluto wants you to see something where you can stand in a sense of self that is powerful and authoritative, but also something that is uncomfortable to acknowledge. Something that could bring up how you handled something, what you said, what you were experiencing, what you went through. Pluto in Capricorn is not only evolving us, but maturing us. And I feel like a lot of this week is putting us into energetic connection with a more mature version of our energy, where we're actually having to look at some fears around communication, some fears around opening up the throat chakra, especially if that has been locked or stagnant or shut down. Something that wants you to open up and even take time to be very responsible with your communication energies. And I'm using the word communication as a very broad term here because that can involve anything where we're exchanging information and energies with others. But there's a highlight here about going into the deepest parts of the tunnel, the deepest parts of yourself, where again, there can be grief or shame. There can be something that you're like beating yourself up about and you're being really hard on yourself about it. There can be the energy of regret. There can be the energy of disappointment. There can be the energy here of betrayal, even self-betrayal, where you've betrayed your own truth with something, or perhaps manipulation, control. All of these darker Plutonic themes are big this week because ultimately Pluto is showing you something that you're ready to understand, but I'm feeling like it can't just be a mental process. It can't just be something that you're overthinking and spinning about and getting anxiety. It's like fatigue. You will wear yourself right out, right? The overthinking. But what this energy is pushing you into are these darker caves, these darker parts of the mind. I mean, I'm just seeing the brain and how we have these very small caverns of darkness. It's like these very small parts of ourselves where our fears can live and be heavily activated and really come alive. Okay, this is fascinating. I feel like I'm on a little tour here through the internal workings of the brain, just an intuitive guided tour. And they're bringing me right to the amygdala. It's amygdala transformation season. The amygdala is where we experience and store emotions. It's where we go for emotional processing, which can bring up a lot of things we've been through that haven't been healed. It can bring up a lot of the deeper fears. It can bring up things that you're uncertain about. And what they're showing me is like these are basically messages and insights into where we need more love, where we are learning to love ourselves through our fears, love ourselves through our emotional experiences. And this is also where the energies can definitely store trauma, abuse, really impactful core memories of where you had to fight for yourself or where you couldn't fight for yourself. It's like there's so much here, and I'm feeling this energy so intensely right now that I hope it helps you pinpoint what to look into for yourself or what to understand, at least logically, which is a strength of Libra season, because as these planets move into Scorpio, they go into more of that emotional depth, which again is now showing me this is a time period to evolve parts of your brain that need love, support, reassurance, but they need new programming. It's reprogramming, which is very deep work. And I certainly do not mean that to sound easy or simple. And of course, I am in no way a neurologist, but there's energy here that feels very powerful right now. And I feel like it's stirring up past memories of something that you're meant to see now. This goes back to the Sun and Mercury conjunct the South Node of understanding what you've been through, what you're leaving behind, and your thought processes around it. It's sort of like when this person says this, I say this. When this person did that, I said that. And it's like these energies internally that have been frozen into some part of your consciousness. And what I'm seeing is the frozen energy is a form of safety. It's a form of safety. It's like, at least if it's frozen, I don't have to feel it. At least if it's frozen, I don't have to deal with it. I don't have to talk about it. I don't have to go into it. But this is the week where those energies are getting stronger because of how the Sun and Mercury are moving into Scorpio after squaring Pluto and Capricorn. And that is going to take you through some type of emotional process around a fear that perhaps you've been holding, ignoring, disassociating from, pushing away. I mean, this is also where we try to replace other behavior, other habits with something that feels good. And I'm getting the visual of like trying to chase a high, like trying to chase something that counterbalances the energy that is really uncomfortable, perhaps really emotional and really fear-based. And so the distraction could be, well, I'll take anything that makes me feel better. I'll do anything that doesn't highlight this horrible pain or deep emotions over here. I'll go in this direction to take care of this. Just don't make me look in the basement. Just don't make me look in the scary attic. I just don't want to deal with whatever that energy is within me because you know, especially your higher self and your emotional body and your intuition, you know it's going to be painful. something is going to be painful, but the energy of this week is going to move you through to the other side. And it's also going to dissolve whatever has been limiting you, whatever that fear has been. It's almost like, you go into the basement and you face that scary monster, and it turns out that monster isn't so big at all. It's just something minute that has been casting very big shadows on the wall. I'm getting the image of a small, little, harmless spider that's part of the ecosystem. And when there's a light behind it and that shadow shines up and it looks huge and scary and disgusting, and it takes over the room, it takes over the space, but it's only the shadow that you're meant to see. It's only that huge message from your shadow showing you something that maybe has become out of proportion, something that has become exaggerated or emotionally bigger because of how it's been held back, how it's been able to grow in the darkness, how it's been able to keep itself alive because it's in the darkness. And here is the universe guiding you to exactly what that is so that you can look at it by turning on the light, turning on something that helps you see it in a new way. Because I'm also feeling like something about this energy has been controlling you, maybe controlling your emotional world or your fears, or controlling something that you can't or can't do, controlling something that you won't allow yourself to do. Of course, only takes it if it resonates. But there's an energy here, again, going back to feeling frozen. There's something that has been locked away because you never felt safe enough to really feel it, to allow it to melt, to allow it to dissolve, and even the fear of what's on the other side. That could be something as well that comes up during this week, because when we move into Scorpio energy, everything tends to get more intense, and that intensity is complex. It's a lot to handle. It can be overwhelming at first, but the Scorpio journey is one that promises you more empowerment, promises you a light at the end of the tunnel. And because we're in eclipse season, it can be bigger, it can be deeper, it can almost be like, this is really coming up in a powerful way for me, because the universe wants you to close some chapters on your own experiences. But again, I'm being redirected back to the amygdala, something that has been residing in that part of your brain that the universe wants to help move you through. And we tend to think of help as often this benevolent, loving, compassionate energy. I feel like this is the universe basically pushing you off the diving board into the deep end. The universe pushing you into a fear, pushing you into something so that you can claim a new understanding of it. You can claim a new perspective. You can enter into the healing that awaits. You can enter into a new version of yourself that is no longer living or activating from something that has kept you stuck or fearful. And there's even a promise. There is a universal promise here that whatever that is for you, there's going to be support that shows up. There's going to be something that offers you a pathway, a sense of hope, something you can trust to move the energy forward. And that's because when Mercury enters Scorpio on October 21st, and then the Sun enters Scorpio on October 23rd, they both immediately trine Saturn retrograde in Pisces at 0 degrees. And Saturn in Pisces is sitting there powerfully holding your spiritual wisdom, all of the energies you've experienced, helping you see what is no longer working on your path, helping you strengthen your connection to your higher self, your God self, the divine. And that's the energy coming through where you could finally feel ready to do something. You could finally understand what you need for greater stability or reassurance. You could finally see that you're not alone in this. You've never been alone in this. Your higher self is always right there. Your God self is always around you as well as within you, beautifully embedded within you. And this could be an energy of trusting yourself more, of trusting your feelings more. Again, I feel it as moving the energy forward in a really powerful way. And this is very emotional energy because Scorpio is fixed water, and Scorpio is even our collective, energetic, and emotional experiences that we've absorbed, that we've taken in, that we have allowed to affect us deeply. But what I love about this trine to Saturn in Pisces is that Pisces is the next water sign after Scorpio. So if you look at the zodiac through the lens of the elements, there's always a progression that occurs between each element. So here we have the Scorpio energy bringing up what has been within your emotional depths, and the energy trines Saturn in Pisces, retrograde at 0 degrees Pisces. And that is the water sign of completion, of bringing in more compassion for your humanness, of letting you have all the feelings, of letting all the emotions come up, of knowing that you can handle it. Because that emotional energy, it can flood through, it can be really big. And there's something here where your God self is saying, I've got you. We've got this. There's a way to energetically clear this out. There is also support for karmic energies here that need to be flushed out, that need to end. And this is a big emotional reprogramming energy too, where there's some things that you realize are no longer going to be alive in your emotional body, no longer going to be activated in your fear body. But you've got to do that powerful work of seeing it in the light of day, of really seeing what has been operating behind the scenes, perhaps even dominating you. Perhaps it's something as well that feels so taboo, where it's something like, I don't know who I can trust with this. I don't know who to talk about with this. Well, keep in mind, there are so many beautiful souls on the planet right now, so many light workers and starseeds and empaths, and those of you who are such powerful energy readers that you're available to support not only yourself through this, but you're there for others. And there's something too that needs to be healed, or that will come up for healing, I should say, is that all the places in our lives, like I'm seeing all these dots on a timeline, all of that energetically can form us and shape us, and also take us away from what it means to truly love and accept ourselves, including the uncomfortable emotions and experiences that we've had, including the parts of ourselves that we don't like, or the parts of our world that we're not happy with, or the parts of our energy that feels stuck and overpowering. And what do I do with all this? There's going to be breakthroughs once you're moving through the deeper energies of Scorpio. And so it looks like support comes through with Saturn retrograde in Pisces trining both Mercury and the Sun in Scorpio. And then we move into the Taurus lunar eclipse next week that is also going to have more breakthroughs, more things that you really understand, you really connect with, that really support you, that really land and show you what is on the other side of whatever comes up this week. So that's a little bit of the pathway here, is that essentially we're being gifted with understanding what no longer works, what we want to improve, where we are rising up into new communication standards, new areas of our energy, new parts of ourself that we're learning to trust and work with. But the universe is saying, but first, before we get too far down this pathway, there's things that can't go with you. There's things you have to address and take responsibility for. And this is where you could be seeing something that is really out of alignment with your truth now. And honestly, it could really suck. It could be hard. It could be emotional in an extreme way. It could be you revealing things that were important to you that you thought you had to do for safety, for survival, for love, for acceptance. It could show you things that you grew up around, whether those were parental influences or siblings or just your culture, your community, things that were just practiced or just happened that you had to do in order to be seen, be recognized, be validated, but it was probably more low vibrational, or it left some kind of imprint on you about whether or not it was safe to be in your power, safe to be loved, safe to really understand all of your emotions or all of who you are. And something left that imprint at a core level. And again, I'm seeing the amygdala that has a tattoo on it. It has been energetically imprinted with something. And what I'm now hearing from my guidance team from the energies I channel is that it's your choice on what to do with that energy. It's absolutely your choice on what will empower you, on what will move something forward, on where you take control over this part of your energy that was previously impacted by other energies, other influences, perhaps lower vibrations and lower versions of consciousness. So I'm seeing this tattoo on the amygdala that's very black or white, and it feels like it can absolutely be removed. It can be dissolved. I'm also seeing some beautiful flowers blooming from it, some beautiful energies that come in to reshape it, reform it, to see that energy in a new way and to have a new version of it within yourself. So we're not just entering Scorpio season, we're entering amygdala reprogramming season. And another important part of this energy is to ask for help, to look for assistance, to look for therapy or healing or anything that would support you with whatever is coming up, with whatever you're processing. Because these energies of Libra and Scorpio are about connection, is about sharing, it is about interaction, and they're meant to be healing interactions where there's someone in your corner. There's someone who listens, who affirms, who gets it without judgment, without making it worse, who is a trusted, safe place. So if that's something you're needing right now in your life, that's a beautiful gift to give yourself. It's a very empowering choice. It also can help reset parts of your energy that thought you had to do it alone. You had to figure it out on your own, or that you couldn't trust anybody else, or that no one else would understand. This is energy to certainly look for support, look for help, and know that that is part of the healing as well. And so in summary, this is why it's a big week with the Sun and Mercury traveling together. Because again, they're conjunct the South Node, October 18th and 19th. Then they move to square Pluto in Capricorn. That happens October 20th and 21st. Then they enter Scorpio on October 21st and October 23rd. So the energies here intensify in a way that can be emotionally big and overpowering. And it's also going to show you what needs to change, what needs to shift. And you could make some new promises to yourself, some new vows or pledges to yourself around what you are changing and evolving. I'm never doing that again. I'm not going back to that version of myself. I'm understanding that that fear is no longer going to overpower me. I'm going to continue to show up for myself in a new way, in a higher vibrating way, with more self-love and trust, more trust in not only who you are, but trust that you're supported. You're supported through this tunnel or through these energies. You're trusting something much bigger in order to look at that spider shadow on the wall as a way to reclaim your sovereign power, to write a new version of the story that brings in more self-compassion, self-acceptance, love, and a very intense reconnection to your soul, to your soul's journey. Because something about this feels like it's just a blip on a screen, but it can be a very big energy for some. And it can also be very intense, especially when we're making some significant changes. And so this energy, again, is strongest October 18th until October 24th. And then we have a few days where the energy is a little bit quieter before the Taurus lunar eclipse on October 28th. Now, we also have a lovely connection here with Venus and Virgo trining Jupiter retrograde in Taurus at 12 degrees. This happens on October 21st. And this energy is one of beautiful self-acceptance. This is self-love. This is truly integrating what you know is true for you. There can be a solid energy here. There can be support for boundaries. There can be an understanding of what works for you, what is true for you, and how you are standing in that with a sense of self-love as well as priority on your needs. So Venus and Virgo trining this Jupiter retrograde in Taurus at 12 degrees is assisting us with something we need to see in ourselves that maybe has been covered up, that maybe we didn't realize or didn't acknowledge. And it's meant to be enhanced. It's meant to grow. It's meant to be something that you put energy towards, and perhaps even really accepting your own beautiful self, your own beautiful needs, really looking at what is right there in front of you that you can count on. And I'm feeling it as a healing practice, where if this is a week that you're realizing I really need to have some body work done, I need to move energy through me, it's a beautiful time to do so, especially around receptive energies, something that shows up to allow you to receive in a gentle, soft way. This trine between Venus and Jupiter is happening in the earth signs, which are about the body and the body's energy meridians. And so looking at anything that supports those energy meridians, supports your physical self, and also allows you to tap into what your body is communicating to you about the energies at this time. So this is a week to be brave, whatever that means to you. This is a week to understand that you're beautifully supported with whatever comes up. This is a week to trust that whatever is rising up in you, whatever is coming forward, whatever shows up is beautifully right on time for you to handle it in a new way with a deeper connection to your power, more so than any fear programming or anything you went through previously. So there's a real push right now here in our spiritual ascension that's strongly working with both the mind and the heart, with the intelligence that you have, as well as the emotional world you possess. This is a week to really harness whatever is being stirred up and to know that it's going to pay off. It's leading to somewhere better. It's leading to somewhere that is more loving, supportive. It's leading to a new version of something that maybe you've been disconnected from or that has been out of reach. The universe is leading you through something because it knows what's on the other side. And there can even be parts of yourself that are afraid of what's on the other side. Afraid of what if it's nothing? What if this isn't what I need, what I want? And another big theme as we move into Scorpio season is how you can strengthen trusting yourself through the dark passages, trusting yourself in the dark, trusting yourself to navigate more of these depths because you're traveling with more spiritual tools and energetic awareness than ever before. And all of this is simply part of this eclipse portal that we're in. And it's intense this time of year. It's bigger, but it also relates to how fast the energies are moving, how quickly we're accelerating through some things. So keep in mind that just for perspective, the energy right now wants to move you forward quickly through some of these issues and energies that are coming up. And it's not going to take months or years. Meaning there could have been things that came up years ago and you're like, oh, it took me forever to slog my way through that. It was heavy. It was dense. I don't want to do that again. Well, the energies on the planet are so much different now. And there can be a quickening of what you're moving through that might even surprise you. I would say looking at this upcoming Taurus lunar eclipse and then the Scorpio new moon on November 13th, this would be a beautiful energy field to address deep level changes that you're ready to make. And you might surprise yourself at what transpires during Scorpio season because of your intention to do so, because of your willingness to look at some things straight on, to approach some things or deal with things head on. And it leads you into new wisdom as well as powerful breakthroughs. So of course, trust if that feels right for you and if it resonates. But Scorpio season this year is going to deeply shift us. And I just see the energy coming right back to the amygdala. Now, the other visual I'm getting is that if this is resonating, if you're feeling this, and if this is something that you're wanting to intentionally work with, you could actively invite your amygdala to open up more, to share, to be energetically supported in this growth and expansion. And this energy can certainly come through in your dream state, in any guided meditations. It can also directly impact your third eye and your crown chakra. So there's a lot of energy flowing through right now, and you could be feeling that. It's almost like you could feel dizzy or heady, or you could just feel like there's a lot going on that I'm picking up and I can't quite put my finger on it. And it could be the energies are evolving you in multiple parts of your energy field. And keep in mind that the intensity of this week will lessen, will ease up, will flow through, and will even make more sense at some point along the way if it doesn't even make sense in the present. Now, one thing I wanted to share with you before I sign off, two things actually. First is that coming up on Tuesday, October 24th, I am doing a free webinar workshop with the lovely and talented Mary Kennedy. She runs the Next Stage Celtic Wheel, and she is launching her new version of the Celtic Wheel. And we're going to do a discussion about the spiral and the stars. We're going to discuss the energies that we are moving through into 2024, including those of the water carrier, which is Age of Aquarius, and more about what we can expect at this cycle in our journey. So I'll put the link here below if you would like to sign up and join us. Again, it's free. And Mary will be discussing more about the Celtic Wheel, what to be aware of. And Mary teaches beautiful rituals and practices related to Celtic traditions. She has a YouTube channel if you would like to learn more about her teaching and connect with her there. And yes, there will be a recording if you're not able to be there live, but we just hope this helps you prepare for the energies of the year ahead and how to work with them, especially through various practices and traditions. And just a reminder that my 2024 Soul Growth Astrology program is on sale for a limited time when you use. If you are ready to dig in to the major astrology of 2024, please be sure and check out my 2024 Soul Growth Astrology program, which has 10 webinars covering the major astrology of the eclipses, of Pluto entering Aquarius, Jupiter in Gemini. We look at the Mercury retrogrades of the year, and that includes the energy shift as Mercury retrogrades now will enter into the fire signs. We discuss the Mars retrograde in Leo that happens the end of the year, plus Sedna in Gemini, and the interesting dance between Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in 2024. So it's a lot of information, and it's designed for you to return to, watch it again, revisit, come back to whenever you have time. It's always waiting for you there. And I hope it supports you in getting a heads up on what the energies of 2024 will bring up, because that is one of the beautiful gifts of astrology, one of the many, many beautiful gifts of astrology. You can also find more of my current astrology programs and courses over at mollymccord.online, where you will also find some offerings on business development, especially those of you who are ready to get out there, to do your work in the world, to show up in a new way, to offer your services, and to honor your energy in the process. So I hope that any of those offerings will support you in what you're moving through as well. I'll be back on Monday for another podcast episode. You can find a new episode every Monday and Wednesday. And as always, thank you so much for your time, energy, and presence. I'm very grateful for all of you as we share these wild energies together. Take good care, and I'll see you back here soon.